to kickstart, bro.
This is the Volkswagen Taigo. It's a coupe crossover or a crossover coupe which is actually based on the MK6 Polo, the current generation of the Polo. In fact, the windshield, the suspension, the engines, the interior elements and even the doors are shared with the Polo. But this car is sitting alongside the Taigo of Europe, which is actually known as the T-Cross. Straight away, let's open the engine bay. I'm not showing you the key because this is the base variant, so it does not have push button start. And here you go. Oh my god, why is this not opening? It's so hot. There's insulation there. That is the engine which we all are familiar with, because this is the 1-liter engine which we also get in India. Engine is vibrating a lot because this is 3 cylinders. The design is typical VW, does not get front fogs. Massive VW logo because the radar is actually placed behind it, I believe, because it has obviously got ADAS. ADAS is mandatory here. You get this chrome line which actually merges with the line inside the headlights. These are full LED lights. This is the DRL. This is the low beam. This is actually the high beam, and also gets the option of HD matrix lights. Actually, it's available in the high variant, which means that it can be very well kitted if you opt for the high variant of this car. There is the camera for lane keep assist. There's a rain sensor as well. Now, it gets front parking sensors, but does not get any camera only. No, there is no rear camera. This car is apt to compete with the Citroen Basalt as well as the Tata Curvv, because this is a coupe. If it is sub 4 meter, it can take on the Maruti Suzuki Fronx as well. Now, because this is the lower variant, it gets 16-inch wheels. High variants get 17-inch wheels. The tire size is actually 205, 60, 16. Lot of sidewall. Alloy wheel design is quite boring here, and lots of cuts and creases, so aggressive in that regard. You get roof rails which seem to be functional. You get an antenna right there. It says Volkswagen right here, piano black finishing here, and it takes benzene as well. So it says the same, petrol and E5, so 5% ethanol blend. In terms of rear seat, it seems decent for something which is a coupe. You can put the seat down in 60-40 format. Rivals offer 40-20-40 format. Meanwhile, space is actually decent at the rear. Scooped out seat back, magazine holders, underside support is not the best. Headroom seems decent in spite of the fact that it's sloping here. Light placement on the top. Dashboard will remind you of the Indian VW cars. Very similar bits here, but there's this hump in the center, and this is also raised, which means center passenger is not going to be comfortable even though he has a head. There's no center armrest here, which is a bit disappointing. You get 2 USB-C charging sockets. There are no rear AC vents, at least not in this car. There's a hook. Side airbags are there, obviously, and one touch up and down for all the power windows of this car. Fabric seats here. Isofix child seat mounts. Let's get out and get to the boot. For starters, the length is around 4.3 meters, which actually makes it longer than the Taigo. However, the wheelbase is around 2.6 meters. The Taigo has a longer wheelbase. So this is all about design, and that's the reason in certain markets it costs more than the Taigo. However, both of them are positioned very similarly. The lights get the connected treatment. Lights are so bright. Even in the bright sun, you can see the light. This is the rear fog. Says Taigo right there, and you get rear parking sensors. But like I told you, there's no rear parking camera. Where is the exhaust? There it is. Yeah, just on one side. Obviously, the boot is actually bigger than the Taigo, which is kind of surprising. Rear wiper washer. Get this gloss back finish. High mounted stop lamp. Yeah, rear spoiler has been given. Boot is 440 liters here, which is good, but this is quite high. The loading lip is actually quite high. That is the first aid kit, and you can open this to see that there is no spare wheel. There's a tire repair kit, I believe. So that is the sealant. This is the inflator that has been given. But yeah, I definitely expected more from this car, but it feels very solid. You close the door, you realize that something has closed. Indicators on at the moment. What is this? I have no clue at all. Does not get request sensors, so you have to use the key to turn on the vehicle or unlock the car. Yeah, you have to put the key inside and twist it. The thing I hate about this car is that you have to move this to adjust the angle, which is very cumbersome. So if you want to recline the seat to rest when you stop, it's going to take more time when compared to why you stopped for. So that's a bit of a problem. It says top speed 210 kilometers per hour on winter tires. This car does not even achieve that speed on performance tires because the engine isn't that powerful here, because this is the base variant. We'll talk about that in a bit. Doors shut with a proper third. Door pockets are also big enough. One touch up and down is nice. Illumination on all the power window controls. Get this sort of a treatment here, which actually looks quite premium. Glove box is big. Yeah, that's big. And I think this is probably the high visibility jacket. There, I think you can turn off the passenger airbag. Something might be there. I'm not too sure. Now, it has got front Isofix child seat mounts as well. Lot of storage space here. And ashtray as well. Proper handbrake. Cigarette lighter. This opens. There's some storage space inside here. This slides ahead and behind. 5-speed gearbox. What am I even talking about? Parking sensor, stop start. This is a card holder. There's some storage space here. 2 USB-C charging sockets, climate control, air conditioning, which is actually better than the one we get in India because it's more effective somehow. That's what I noticed. I think the compressor is slightly different here. But then a lot of elements are actually similar to the Indian cars. No auto dimming mirror, you have to manually do it. This will remind you of the first generation of the Octavia. So very old parts being used here. Sunglass holder as well. Here you get a mirror along with a light. Now that is, trust me, quite premium. Cool job, hi. Let's shut this. Okay, it says passenger airbag. It will tell you no one smoke in the car. Hazard light. This seems to be a 10.25 inch screen. No, it's actually an 8 inch screen here. Front and rear parking sensors. The UI is different from the Indian car somehow. So you can get into vehicle. There's a lot of things to see here, but it's not that loaded. There's no rear camera, so no point getting to reverse. It has got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity as well, which is wireless, I believe. Yeah, wireless. So this is the menu. You can browse through a lot of stuff here, but yeah, it's kind of basic here. You can shop also. This car will definitely suit girls who love to shop on the go. Steering is the same as the Indian VW cars. So you've got cruise control buttons here, buttons to browse through that cluster. That is again a fully digital cluster, the same as the one in India. I don't know why these side parts are having these eyelashes and vacant. You could have got more stuff there, so you can obviously browse through ton of information and then you can change the views as well. So multiple views. Now obviously this is very similar to the Indian model, so not much to talk about there. The horn is decent, no doubt about that. AC vents placed here, and this is the key of the vehicle. So when I turn it off, well, that turns off. It shows me the journey summary. Flip key right here. This is to unlock the car, this is to lock the car, this is to open the boot of the vehicle. We'll lock the car right now. Mirrors will go inside. Obviously, keep this button pressed. Will the windows roll down? Yes, they will. I'm hoping they do. Otherwise, it will be massive pop-up in front of the camera. Come on, do that. Roll down the windows. What are you waiting for? Don't tell me this car does not offer this, because the Polo definitely used to offer it in India at least. So I don't know what's wrong here. Yeah, come on, roll down. Nope, that's not working. Height adjustable seat belts as well. Let's turn on the vehicle. Yeah, higher variants have more features for sure. There's a clutch lock here, and there it rose to life. Does it have a soft limiter? Yes, it does, at 4000 RPM. But how is it to drive? Because this is based on the MQB A0 platform, not the A0iN. And this car was actually okay. It says tip: do not press accelerator while stationary. Thank you so much for informing me. Yeah, it keeps giving me these eco tips, which is good for people who are not that efficient while driving. Let's use the wipers. Wipers are so noisy today. I don't know why. Anyways, if you notice one thing, this is very Audi-like, and you get a proper dead pedal there. These controls are for the headlights. So if I pull it outside, it will turn on the rear fog lights. Again, the quality actually seems to be better. Like fit finish seems to be nice when compared to the India model, however, Indian models that is. But there are still a lot of hard plastics. So yes, this is a budget car at the end of the day. But how is it to drive? Let's go! Alright, we are driving in a de-restricted zone into second gear. And whack, open the throttle. Doesn't really help, cars fly by from the side. I am doing 93 kilometers per hour in second gear, right into third. And one thing I noticed, that this is a 1 liter TSI engine, yet it is decently punchy. Yeah, it's not sluggish. So even in the lowest state of tune, it gets the job done. Let's see what is the top speed we can hit. Straight into fourth gear. And because this has a 5-speed gearbox, the problem is that the engine feels quite stressed, higher end of the rev range. Because obviously you're spinning the motor at a higher speed, and then when you're driving at higher speeds, such types of issues happen. So fuel consumption is reduced to 6.9 kilometers per liter. Red line comes in slightly above 6000 RPM, 180 kilometers per hour. You can hear a lot of the wind noise, you can hear a lot of the road noise as well, but car doesn't really feel as fast. This is a 1 liter 3-cylinder TSI petrol engine, which is quite powerful actually. 95 horsepower. It's not going to go above 85 kilometers per hour. It gives me an eco tip that please change the gears. Yes, I will. Now we are in 5th gear. Let's see what is the top speed we can do. Progress really dull. So 1 liter TSI, 95 horsepower, 175 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 11 seconds, which is not bad at all, considering that doesn't even have 100 horsepower. And a top speed of, well, we are trying to find that out, but somehow it's not reaching there. Now there's another state of tune which happens to be 115 horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque. That is 1 second faster, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.9 seconds, which is quite quick actually. That gets a 6-speed manual gearbox and a 7-speed DSG, and then obviously there's the 1.5 TSI motor, which is just phenomenal because 150 horsepower. I'm getting the slipstream of that Audi. Either that Audi needs to go fast or move out of my way. That guy decided let me move out of the way. So there it is, the magic double ton number I thought I will hit, but I did not even reach there. Somehow progress is getting dulled down now because this seems to be a slight incline here. But yeah, it will do around 200 kilometers per hour. Oh my god, progress is dulling down quite a lot. 8.1 kilometers per liter at this speed, not bad at all. And there we have actually hit a restriction of 120 kilometers per hour. Brakes are decent here. Yeah, nothing great or to write home about. But yes, performance is very good for something with a Chintu Mintu engine. And then 1.5 TSI, 150 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. Now in South America, they have another tune which is 130 horsepower, but the same 200 Newton meters of torque, because that obviously runs an ethanol blend. And now we have hit de-restriction again, which means downshift. Gearbox is slick to shift. The clutch is decently light. It's not very heavy a clutch. And the engine is refined, but obviously has a 3-cylinder thrum. I mean, it doesn't really feel like a 3-cylinder much, but refinement levels are actually very good. Only once you drive in the higher end of the rev range, you realize that the motor is spinning too hard and then kind of feels uncomfortable for the engine as well. Now I'm going to come into 5th gear. I enjoy shifting the gears here because it's quite nice. The ride quality is amazing because of the relatively high profile tires. Handling is so-so because the steering now is a bit lackluster here. It's not very engaging as such, so this car is definitely aimed more towards comfort than towards dynamic driving. And the best thing about this car is that although it's not a practical car because of the coupe roofline, it's actually decently spacious. So that's something which I would give them a big thumbs up for, making it a practical car in spite of not looking practical. Now if Volkswagen doesn't want to get the Polo, what are you doing, BMW driver? How could you give an indicator when you're turning inside? Just turn now, otherwise you're not really a true BMW driver. What's wrong with you? Let's downshift. Let's come to 4th gear. This car is actually punching way above its weight with a 1-liter engine doing such great performance. I am honestly surprised. Now in terms of the development of this car, they did something very, very, very funky. Okay, now we have a clear road ahead. The problem is there are a couple of Audis right behind and they would want me to get out of the way, but I'm on full throttle. I'm still not able to overtake that BMW. There is no replacement for power, baby. Power means power. You need power. This car doesn't really give me that kind of power, and then I failed to reach 200 kilometers per hour, so I'm crying in tears right now. I'm just going to move out of the way. Go Audi, go. Enjoy your day. Have as much fun as you want. So performance is actually quite good for a car of this type, and it's not very heavy. It doesn't feel heavy. Body roll is obviously there. You can feel the roll and all, but still this is an easy car to drive, and the ride is quite good, which is something I really appreciate about this car. And there goes the A440 TDI. People love their diesels in Europe, and now we are at 189 kilometers per hour and time for me to exit. Okay, you can feel the nose dive. Now, why it's not very enjoyable around the corners, I'll tell you why. Okay, that Volvo is also flying. That has a speed limit of 180 kilometers per hour. How is it flying around the corners? I don't know what is in my respiratory system, but it's bringing me a lot of cough right now. But I like the fact that this car drives very much like the India cars as well. So this is the MQB A0 platform, which obviously cannot take an all-wheel drive system, so it's only front-wheel drive here. In terms of the development, they cut 10 months of development cost by not making any prototype only. They developed this car with AR and VR, and this was developed in Brazil, and this is the very first car from Volkswagen to be sold in Europe, which is actually not developed in Europe, it's actually developed in Brazil. So that's very funky and different. Okay, downshift and off we go. Come on. So this car obviously gets ADAS. It even has a driver alert system, which basically ensures that if you feel like you want to take a nap, it will alert you about that. Let's change the modes here. Now again, very similar to what we get in India. So nothing really fancy here to talk much about, and I don't know what's there on the road right now, but it kind of feels weird when you're driving on such terrains. And now the road restriction is actually if you're driving in the wet. So then that speed limit comes into play. Otherwise, this is a de-restricted part of the Autobahn, but now it says 120 kilometers per hour speed limit. Anyways, we are stuck behind a WagonR into 2nd gear, already at the red line. That's crazy. So what I was telling you, that this car gets 5-star rating from Euro NCAP, obviously quite safer car. If you don't get top rating, you will have huge penalties in terms of insurance costs and all those things. Nobody's going to buy your cars, so obviously they have to make absolute safe cars, which mean various criteria. Lane keep assist is actually very aggressive here somehow. And now into 5th gear, hopefully we will be able to hit top whack, because I think it does 205 kilometers per hour on a downslope probably. Now this car comes with a warranty of 3 years or 1 lakh kilometer. However, it's not as good a warranty as say what Hyundai offers, because they offer 5 years and Kia offers 7 years. So Volkswagen is a bit behind here. So that's something which they can improve. But will this car come to India? That's a very good question, and I think there's huge potential for this car in India, considering the Citroen Basalt as well as the Tata Curvv have been recently launched. The thing about this car is a lot of the interior bits and a lot of other parts are also very similar to the India 2.0 cars which are already being sold in India by Volkswagen. So for them to get this car is not going to be difficult, because all they need to do is design a different rear end, and they can obviously use the front end of maybe the Taigo or the Virtus. So there's huge potential for sure, without a doubt, for this car to come to India. But I'm not too sure if Volkswagen is going to do it. Yeah, they should do it, but I'm not sure if they will, because they're not going to get the sub 4 meter compact SUV, which obviously Skoda is getting real soon. Which means that cars like these are definitely going to help Volkswagen expand its portfolio of cars, because currently it's a very small portfolio. And now, no, the speed limit is not coming. That is only when it is wet. So now we should downshift into fourth. Come on! Imagine if this was the 1.5. Now trust me on this. If this was the 1.5, I would have easily crossed 200 kilometers per hour, and then maybe the limiter would have kicked in. And then now we have a proper speed limit kicking in right here. Car doesn't sound great, yaar. Downshifting into third. In terms of fuel efficiency, this will return somewhere between 11 to 15 kilometers per liter, again depending on your driving style. Alright, back to the restriction. Come, okay, we are already at speeds wherein this car can't give me any power in second gear. It's already at the red line. So this car also comes with an R-Line variant, which actually gets drive modes. There are 4 drive modes, but those drive modes don't really do much. As I see it, this car definitely deserves to be launched in India. And if launched in India, it has potential, because it can sell in decent numbers, is what I personally believe. Let's go for the top speed once again. Come on! I've extensively driven the Virtus 1 litre and 1.5, and trust me, that 1.5 litre engine is another level altogether. But this 1 litre engine, you can't write it off, yeah, because it is also like very potent. The problem is we have 95 horsepower here. If we had 115 horsepower and a 6-speed box now, trust me, it would have easily crossed 200 kilometers per hour. That much I can assure you, because I love the 1 litre engine. It's cost effective, it's powerful enough, it's punchy, and it's efficient too. Now we have hit 185 kilometers per hour. Little downslope would help my cause today, but unfortunately there is no downslope here. Come on! Okay, now I think we are getting a slight downslope. Maybe this is the moment where this car will hit its top speed and at least hit 200 kilometers per hour. That's the minimum I expect from it.
Hell yeah.
There you go, 200 kilometers per hour in a 1 litre engine power car which has just 95 horsepower. Unbelievable, right? That's Volkswagen turbocharging for you.
Volkswagen, das Auto.
205 kilometers per hour. I don't think it's going to go any further. My right foot is completely buried to the floor. And now as soon as the downslope shuts, or rather it starts sloping upwards, top speed starts reducing. Now we have reached below 200 kilometers per hour. So guys, this is my video of the Volkswagen Taigo. I think this car should be launched in India. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Bye bye.